Guys, and welcome back to my channel. Thanks for all your comments before and subscribing and liking. Continue doing that. But this look today is my natural glam look, shall I say. So this is like my go-to look. So when I'm in doubt of what to do to my face, I kind of go for this kind of look. So natural glam, if you don't want to look too over the top but still look like you've made effort, this is the look. So continue watching to see how I've achieved this look. Okay.
Before starting the vid, I had already moisturised my face, so I had used coconut oil. I'm putting on the Fix and Perfect primer by Rimmel. So I put that all over my face. I use my hands. Some people can use the brush or the sponge, but I just like to use my hands, and I work that all over my face. And then I use the Pro Conceal and Correct palette in Dark by MAC. So I use the Pure Orange as a colour corrector, and I put that around my eyes, around my nose, around my mouth area. So this just helps to conceal those dark parts, cover it up, so when you're putting on your foundation you'll have like a nice smooth look. I like quite light coverage, so what I'm using today is the Nars tinted moisturiser in Martinique, and I mixed that with the liquid illuminator by Sleek called Glisten. I'm using my hands to rub it into my face and neck. I then go on to using my concealer, and I am using the LA Pro Girl concealer in colour Fawn, and I use my beauty blender to place that underneath my eyes, around my mouth again, at the bridge of my nose, and underneath my chin. So I just continue blending that out, and I also bring the concealer a little bit closer into my nose just to create like a natural kind of contour, because I don't overly contour. So I just continue to blend, 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 and blend, and blend, and blend again. So after blending away and everything is blended all nice and smooth, I then go on to take my loose powder by Collection 2000 in translucent, and I put it underneath my eyes. So wherever I place the concealer, I place the powder and allow the baking process to begin. We now move on to the eyes, where I prep the eyelids with the Maybelline Color Tattoo 24 hours in the colour creamy beige. So I rub this with my fingers all over the lid. I then move on to using the NYX Nude Matte Shadow in the colour Dance the Tides. So I use my blending brush, my eyeshadow blending brush, and I use that and blend it on the crease of my eyes. Using that, I move on to the Morphe palette, the Morphe 35N palette, and I use the lighter brown, where I take another brush and then I blend that in between where I've put the dark colour. This just creates a smooth transition and nothing too harsh on the eyelid area. I then take a flat eyeshadow brush, which I prep with, where I spray with the Fix Plus spray. So this helps when you're using like a shimmery eyeshadow, so the product can be placed like with a nice finish onto the lid. So I spray it onto the brush first, and then I go and dip it into the Revolution Redemption palette, and then I just pat that onto the eyelid, so just below where I've created the small crease on my eye. So we're now moving on to the brows. So I start brushing my eyebrows in an upward motion with a mascara wand. So one that's not been used, so one of my disposable ones. And then I like to use a brow gel. So I'm using the Body Shop Smoky 2-in-1 Gel Liner, and that is in the colour dark brown. So I use an angled brush to like outline my eyebrows first, and then go over it with a concealer. I like the prominent looks since I don't have that much eyebrows, so I like it to show that, bam, I've got eyebrows. Concealer that I use underneath is the actual LA Pro Girl concealer that I used underneath my eyes. So I only use it underneath the brow. On top I would use a darker shade that blends more with my skin, which is the MAC Pro Conceal and Correct palette. So I use the NW45 just so it can blend on top.
I'm in love with the cold. I got it for the low.
So I use a blending brush to just blend all of that out. And you can see the shape, it is quite defined. So then on top of that I use the Brow Colour Fix by High Definition Beauty in the colour Vamp. So this just helps to define the hairs and give it more of a colour, and it helps the brows to last longer throughout the day. Liquid eyeliner, which I then put just to create like a small little flick, not too extra flick, but no, just a small one at the corners, just to give it more of a definition around my eyes. I also use the same liquid eyeliner and just go a little bit on the edge of my bottom lash. I dust off all the loose powder with a small blending brush, and then I go over my face with a pressed powder by Jordana, and the colour is Warm Amber. So you can use any pressed powder, but I like this one. I continue like blending it out with the brush so you don't have any like harsh lines. I also go over my face again with the Mineralize Skin Finisher in Dark Deep by MAC. So just to add like a golden finish to the skin. I'm using the Gosh mascara, Rebel Eyes long wear volume mascara. So I use that on the bottom of my lashes. I like the brush on this, is very nice, and I like my under eye to be really dark and defined. As I didn't really contour, I use a contour brush to apply my CoverGirl Queen bronzer, Ebony. I think this is colour Ebony, colour 5 I believe, and I use that just to like create like a natural contour, so nothing too defined. So I just go along like my cheekbones and around the perimeters of my face with this bronzer. I like how the finish comes out with this. It's not too brown, it's got like a nice tone. I take the buffing brush that I used to take away the excess powder from my eyes, the same brush that I used with that, and now dipped it again in the loose powder. I now brush the powder underneath where I've put the bronzer, and this just helps to make it stand out a bit more. I use a fan brush to now apply my highlighter, which is MAC Golden Deposit. And I just place that on top of like my cheekbones and on the bridge of my nose and at the top of my lip and a bit on my forehead. I love Golden Deposit, it's really, really nice. We move on to the lips, and I am now using my NYX lip pencil in Espresso. So I use that to define my lips. I then move on to MAC Velvet Teddy lipstick. Then on top of that, I'm using the MUA lip liqueurs in Tranquility, and I place that on top. So it's a more like pinky, peachy color, nude, basically. To define the bridge of my nose even more, I now take the Revolution Pink Lights highlighter and I just brush that along on my finger and just place it on the bridge of my nose. I like how this has got like a pearlescent look to it. I now take my buffing brush and I go along with my mineralize skin finisher in Dark Deep, and I continue to just buff away all the excess powder that was left from underneath the bronzer, and I just go in circular motions buffing the powder into my skin. And the look is now complete. Thanks again for watching and see you again soon.
Baking soda, I got baking soda.